Hi everyone. So you know what? I got thinking today, this whole coronavirus thing is very much similar like it was in like when the Israelites had to leave Egypt under Pharaoh's rule. And Moses went to Pharaoh and said, God says, you must let my people go. And his heart was hardened and he didn't let them go. And then obviously these plagues came. And eventually the Israelites were freed, and I think that's sort of more or less where the people like stopped the story that the Red Sea was parted, and I guess Moses and them saw some of the most amazing miracles ever, like burning bushes, and they were led. And I don't know, I just think my faith would be so much stronger if I could see those miracles. But even though the Israelites survived these plagues, they never got to Canaan. Like none of their generation. They all died wandering the wilderness for 40 years in a trip that could have taken them 7 or 11 days or whatever total it was, but they wandered around for 40 years. That must be quite painful, because I don't know how far I could walk in a week, but I don't guess it's that far. And to spend 40 years running around in circles in that space must be quite intense. So I'm wondering, aren't we like, and the reason why they never did, they doubted. You know what? All they did was bicker and moan and doubt God. And is God really in this? And we don't see you, God. And this is all too bad. And why don't we have this? And why don't we have that? And I actually stopped today and sat and listened to what everyone was saying, and read a few Facebook comments, which I shouldn't. But it's amazing how people, you don't get to talk to people that much anymore, but people have a lot to say on social media. And it's exactly the same thing. Just like and are we going to bicker and moan and stress and worry about things that are far out of our control, and things have always been out of our control? God has always had his hand in everything. It's his way, his will, all the time. That's just how it is. And are you going to end up, when this coronavirus is finished, running around for 40 years until the day you die, or this whole generation perishes, because we just can't see that God is involved in this? Now's the time God's calling for faith. Not one person in this whole world, this is how insane this is, not a president, not the richest man in the world, nobody is immune to what is happening now. It's like God got up and said, oh, you doubt me, I am God, here we go. I find it amazing that nobody, you can't ask nobody, no, how intelligent or I see these professors on TV doing all these forecasts, and this is how it's going to be, and that's how it's going to be, and this and that, and come on, really? God can change things in a second. The thing is, none of them really have the answer, and the answer is in the Bible. I believe God left the Bible behind for us to go, and when we face situations, to find stories that are relevant and see how they handled it, and most of them how they didn't handle it, which shows us how we should handle it. I find it amazing. Right now is the time that we should have faith. Step aside and have faith in God and let God work. It's not a test if God doesn't take you to your knees. If it's very easy, I think if the difficulty is very easy, then I guess it's very easy to bank on God. But if God really takes you to your knees and makes it difficult, then I guess that's a real test. And I've had God take me right to the bottom, right to my knees, right to the point where I wanted to give up, and he stepped in, and I was like, yo. And I've learned over the experience of walking a few years with God, being such a rattled and nervous Christian in the beginning. And I can tell you one thing, God will never ever forsake you, never ever drop you, never ever leave you. And I tell that to so many people, and they're still so nervous and still so rattled. But I also know it takes experience of walking with God to see that He's always going to be there. So I want to encourage everyone in this video that's feeling a bit rattled or nervous about the future or stuff. Everything has to get worse before it gets better. God needs to shake things up before He can make this world a better place. Look at our petrol price. Petrol next week Tuesday is going to be half of what it cost before. So think about it. When Corona is over, there's a lot of things that need to become cheaper. Houses need to become cheaper. It's going to be easier to finance things. Rentals of houses need to become cheaper. The cost of houses, the cost of everything. People are going to start doing work and not try to rip people off anymore. Like you get a plumber to your house and he wants to do something for you, but he makes 5,000 Rand profit for a 2-hour job. All of a sudden these guys are going to be okay with making maybe a 400 Rand and instead of getting the boy to do it, get up on the ladder and do it himself. So I just see how things are going to become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper in this country. We don't need to have so much money and live the way we do. They never had that in the olden days, and guess what? They still survived. They never had what we have 30 years ago, and guess what? They still survived. So I just want to encourage everyone. I just want to tell you that I've gone through many things in my life, and I can tell you God will never ever leave you. And now is the time to have faith and understand that God is controlling all of this right now. When you believe that God is doing this for your best, then you're going to come out on top. You're going to be happy every day. You're going to be joyous. But if you're going to be upset and swear at the president and swear, you know what, at the end of the day, the poor president, they're only doing what they can do. Just like we've been dealt an unfair card. Don't you think they've also been dealt something unfairly? Ramaphosa, I see people blaming him for years and years of flipping this and apartheid and the ANC messed up the country. Oh, he wasn't president then, man. The Otis became president. Give him a chance. Nose taking strain, you can see it. And you know what, at the end of the day, God's in charge of this country. And I pray for the best for everyone. I know there's a lot of people suffering, and the longer this thing goes on, nobody's going to be immune to it. It will cripple everyone the longer it goes on. So now's the time to have faith in God. And I can guarantee you, once we all step towards God and say we have faith in you, that is the day He's going to stop this and say, you recognize me as God. Now we'll take this away. I will take this plague away, but you will serve me again, South Africa.